Well, I'd love to welcome you to another episode of The Grass is Greener. This one is a little bit different. I am speaking with Juraj. He is a CEO of Somavedic International. And if you've been following my social media lately, or you've been paying attention to some of my Instagram, and you will know that we did a giveaway this week and of the Somavedic, the Vedic, which is the green one. And Juraj is a self-proclaimed endless optimist. I love that. This is how he describes himself: an endless optimist with a passion to build and grow projects with meaning. And that already tells me that I'm excited to have him on my show. Right now, he's working on his dream product, which is the Somavedic, functional and broadly accessible frequency therapy device, harmonizing the negative effects of not only EMFs, but all other types of frequencies that may be invading our homes. So I'll be speaking with Juraj. He's in the Czech Republic. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm so excited for you to discover a little bit more about the science behind this, and also hear some stories of people who have been completely had their lives transformed by such a simple thing. I have the Vedic Greene. There's a new version of this out that's 50% stronger. We've noticed a big difference in our sleep. We'll be getting into some of that. Of course, my wife's 9 months pregnant. We're going to have a little baby boy any day, and she's been sleeping like a baby. She's sleeping right now. Why do they say sleeping like a baby when they're also in the same sentence say you're never going to get any sleep? I'm going to take sleeping like a baby as sleeping like a baby, like our baby's going to sleep a lot and we're going to get so much sleep. But in the meantime, please welcome my next guest, Juraj Kocar, and I'm probably butchering his name. In English, he's been called George. I first heard about Juraj through Gabrielle Reese's Instagram Live, and then I reached out to the company, and then I found out that Angie, my son's mom, also works with them, and we since have now 2 in our home and working on getting another one because I just love the effects of these things. It structures your water, helps you sleep. Juraj's coming in right now. I'll welcome him and away we'll go. Okie dokie. Hello. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Welcome to my podcast. And if I say your name, Juraj, is that right? Juraj?
Yes, that's perfect. You nailed it.
I nailed it. I was when I was talking to Tara, I was like, she said George is fine, and then I was like, I want to call him by his real name, so it's Juraj. Okay.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Awesome. And we're already recording, so we'll just get right into it. You're in the Czech Republic right now, right?
Yes. I'm in Prague. Yes.
In Prague. Cool. I've never been to Prague. I've heard one of my best friends, Johan, spent some time there. One of his favorite cities. Why do you live there?
Well, because I'm Slovak, so which is I was born in a neighboring country next to Czech Republic. So formerly we were Czechoslovakia. Then we split. But I studied here for six years at the university, like IT and stuff like that. And I love Prague. I always loved Prague. And I moved here, to live with my fiance. So yeah. So
okay. Whenever I think of Prague, I think of the movies and just how romantic, how stunning the buildings are and the architecture. And would you say is it a liberal city in that area, or is it like, because it's the area around it, like how is it politically right now? How is it to live there in a political way?
I would say it's very liberal, but it's like currently, they're tightening up the restrictions and things like that. But I would say that still We are very good in terms of the restrictions, but definitely liberal. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no I know in the past there's been quite a bit of unrest inside of the in that whole area from civil wars and all of that. And has Prague always sort of stayed out of it, or has Prague been in the midst of it? Because I've it's always seemed to me like in has the architecture and this beauty of the city when there was the wars going on. Did Prague was Prague involved as well, or was it pretty much out of it?
Yes, well, Prague was left out of it. It's Prague is in a way protected, by whatever forces there are, like there, because like there were all because for example, Germany that is like next to Prague, for like that was bombarded very heavily. But there were already bombers on the way to bomb Prague, but there was a huge mist and storms and things like that. So they were not able to find it. And that was the first and last attempt. So that's why it could keep its historical buildings. Yes.
Wow, that's such a gift. I remember I lived in Europe, all over Europe, and there was some little cities, in the corner of where Switzerland, I think it was probably Basel, where Switzerland and France and Germany kind of come together. And there was this little town that was just bombed, and there was complete, all these beautiful buildings were gone, and they had rebuilt some of them, obviously. But I've always wanted to visit Prague,
Yeah,
and
you're welcome.
yeah, yeah. So you're right. I first saw you on Gabrielle Reese's Instagram live, and then
Okay.
I I was listening to it, and then I made a post about it, and then Angie Fletcher is my ex-wife, and uh, she was also my son. I got this one from you guys, but there's a little one of these that Angie gave my son, and it's next to our water right now. So our in our
Mhm.
I'm really glad to have you on here. I've heard about you, and I've heard about this amazing technology. So you studied 6 years at the university. You were studying IT,
Yes, computers. Yes.
computers, and then how in the world did you? Because you're the CEO of this company,
Yes,
but
yes.
Ivan is the founder. So how did you get involved with Ivan, and how did this come together for you?
Yes. Well, I'll start with my story, how I got involved with Somavedic, and then I'll talk about the Somavedic and how that came to be. So around at the university, I had like the lifestyle there, sleepless nights, a lot of alcohol and food and I was getting like sicker and sicker, and like the doctors, they just gave me like pills, and I started to slowly, like, let's say, awake in terms of, like, yeah, I mean, the pills won't help me, but at that time I was on a journey through and trying out various supplements and diets and everything, and then basically when I made a radical change, and I couldn't basically heal myself for the next 5 years. I had sleepless nights and chest pain, blood pressure, cholesterol, and everything. And then when I stumbled upon raw food diet, I said, like, yes, this is it. This is what I want to do. It made sense at that time. So I immediately, starting the next day, I switched to raw food diet, and within 6 months, all the, like, everything just basically went away, all of the symptoms, which was extremely fast. Of course, it has its, like, side effects. I was very skinny, the whole body was going through a complete transformation, like just to the bone. Basically everything was exchanged, like the cells were like growing back, and muscle growing back from ground up. But yeah, but this taught me, or basically after this transformation, I felt some kind of like a calling, you know, to help people in terms of education about their health and wellness. And I always was thinking, with whatever I was doing, I was always like thinking big, and I always wanted to do things on a scale, like help people on a scale. But I was doing my everyday business, you know, like working in a startup AI incubator and just the usual jobs. But on the sideways, I was always interested in health and wellness. And then in 2018, I was visiting a friend of mine, and he had this colorful lamps all over his place, you know, and so I was curious what that is. And he said, yeah, well, that's Somavedic, and it's doing this and that. And immediately after he told me like what it is and what it is doing, I said, it just clicked, and I said, like, this is it. This is, you know, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to help people on a scale, because here's a product that is helping people, and I want to bring it to the global audience. So yeah, that's basically how I started with Somavedic in 2018. Then year after that, 2019, I became the CEO. We've set up the US branch in San Francisco, and yeah, we are growing really nice and fast, organically, word of mouth.
Mouth to mouth. Yeah. And so you went to his house and he had colorful lamps like this just all over the place,
Yes.
like different ones. And are you a sensitive person? Because I know some people who are very sensitive to like EMFs or sensitive to 5G or certain things will notice right away a different feeling. Did his house feel different when you went in it?
It did not. It did not. There are two ways how people react to Somavedic, and I'll get back like to the story of the Somavedic. So, for example, you know, he had like lots of them there, but I brought one home, and when I brought it home and plugged it in, basically my jaw started buzzing, you know, like from like electricity or something like that. My jaw was buzzing, my head was spinning a bit, and I said, this is interesting. My fiance, she felt it on her chest and in her stomach. So there was something going on, and this is sometimes happening to people, you know, when they are around lots of Somavedic at some place, and they don't feel like anything specific, but when they bring their own Somavedic home and plug it in, they can feel quite a bit of difference, you know, because you are in your home environment. For some reason, it works like this, that when you are at home and bring it home and plug it in, it has like a stronger effect on you, and you can feel the difference, because all of a sudden you are in a known environment at home, but the energy just changes, just switches, and the body is responding to that.
And people's water as well. I know it structures water, so I want to get into all the like goodies of what it does for certain people, and also like some of the benefits. But so Ivan, he started this in 2011, this company.
Yes.
And so and what I love too is it's global, so you can get express shipping like really fast around the world, which sometimes when we work with companies, it's like I have to say, sorry, it's for the US and Canada only, but yours is this company, because you're in Czech Republic, you can also ship anywhere in the world, and within almost like 3 or 4 days, right? Is that what the thing? Yeah.
Yes, with the express shipping, yes, we ship worldwide, usually from the US. So because we have two companies, one is in here in Czech Republic, and one is in the US. But yeah, getting back to the story of the Somavedic, it was that Ivan invented. It was similar to mine, because he was also struggling with his health. He's a mathematician, IT and mathematician. He was studying that. He didn't finish, but he was interested in this. And then again, in his late 30s, he started to have some health problems, and again, the doctors were not able to help him. So he started to study like Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine and different healing properties of precious stones and minerals. And well, after like several books and trying things out, it started to work and help him. So after some time, basically he healed himself. He was also helping his family and friends. That was working as well. I mean, he was not a doctor or anything like that, but from the experience he learned, he was able to help them. And it was around that time when he found out that, well, there are some external influences that are affecting our health, which is, for example, EMF or Geopathic zones. So he was thinking, like, if he could make like a device from the knowledge and experience he had, that would mitigate these effects and help him and other people. So this is, it came out of need and inspiration that he was thinking about the device, and he built the first prototype April 1st, 2011. Yes.
And there's a really cool video. I'm actually going to share the video on this video of how they blow this glass by hand, and then inside it is different minerals and different crystals or minerals.
Yes, precious stones and minerals. Yes.
And depending on the color and the one you get, there's different crystals and different minerals. It's all in that video too, like how they put these together. I just can't understand how he went from, like, what would give him the idea to put it inside this, and then how he would test it and understand that it was actually helping people like that. How was there a lot of different prototypes and things that he put together? Like, how did this come together, and why is it this shape?
Yeah, so he had, because of his life situation, he had like an out-of-body experience, and he became very sensitive and intuitive. And it was around that time when he had the idea, to put together a device. And he had an initial thought of how it should work, that he should use like different precious stones and minerals and energy amplifiers and some frequency therapy technology. So that was at the very beginning. But when I was talking to him a few years ago about this, he said, like, it wasn't me. Like, I didn't invent anything. It just came through me. So like my hands were guided. Right. So this was the very first thing. So he assembled something, and then he had some let's say 5 friends or 5 friends that had extrasensory abilities, and he was testing each model or version with them. And they had to agree, all of them, about what it is doing and what it is not doing. So he was testing that, but these were the first weeks and months. And once independently, they all agreed, like, yes, this is working and this is doing this and that. He started to test it with bioresonance devices, which here in Europe and in Japan, they are quite widespread. Of course, there are some in US, in San Francisco and LA. There are clinics using bioresonance devices, which is a device that is like measuring your frequencies of your organs, your body, viruses, bacteria, the levels of EMFs that are in your body and everything. It can measure really wide spectrum of things, and it can determine what's wrong, what organs are not working well, etc. So he started to measure the effects after these experiments. He started to measure these effects with bioresonance devices, and he found out that it's working really well. And again, not even 1 year after he has built the first prototype, the two biggest bioresonance producers reached out to him that they would like him to make Somavedics as a white label, for them, because they said, we have the device, we've been testing it, we see amazing results, we know it's working, so we want to include it with our devices. So this was another confirmation from these two big companies that that is working. So yeah, and so first step was his friends. Second step was the bioresonance devices, and then basically we focused on biomarkers, on what is actually doing Somavedic to your body and to your blood.
Right. And some of those images of before and after of the blood, it's all clumped together. And I've seen similar things with ozone therapy and some other therapies where they take a deep field photograph of your blood. And when it's all clotted together like that, and then after Somavedic, the cells are healthy and independent, just similar to like what an ozone device can do.
Yes.
And our and I've done quite a bit of ozone therapy in my life, and I've done blood tests before and after, and I've seen the blood cells do beforehand be all clumped together and not functioning in the way they should, and then after. And so he then, so I've never heard of a bioresonance, like you say they're widely available in Europe and Japan and Asia. Like what does it
Yes.
actually, how does it actually work that they're able to, I understand, especially in Chinese medicine, right? Like your organs have, they have certain frequencies, and you see how water, if you is structured and you speak love to water, you can see when you photograph it, water has a certain, the actual molecule will look beautiful, but if you say hate or Hitler or I hate you, the water
Yes.
molecule, from Dr. Emoto, right?
Yes.
So is now that's the Russians Carillion photography. That's different than bioresonance, isn't it?
Yes, that's different. Yes, that's different. So how bioresonance devices work, that they've measured frequencies of they have, let's say, measured frequencies of healthy organs, and each organ and state of your body and viruses and bacteria, and it's preloaded in the device, and it is measuring and comparing the frequency. So there's a display, and then you can see like what organs are out of alignment, or if you have too much bacteria, these sort of or these sort of viruses. And in some countries they are certified as a medical device for diagnostic and treatment as well.
They're registered as a medical device in
Yes,
which,
yes, in Europe, yes,
in Europe.
yeah.
The FDA is a little bit harder to convince that something that's not a chemical or a pharmaceutical can actually do anything for you. It's a little tougher here in the US to convince people outside of anything but pharmaceuticals are the answer to our symptoms. This is really interesting to me, because I feel like when when you think about frequency and vibration and healing, and you as we move forward and you look at, I mean, it starts with science fiction movies, right, where in every science fiction movie, all healing is done with frequency. Like whether
Yes.
they're in space and they put them in a little machine like Matt Damon in that movie, and then they just run these frequencies through them. And we have a PEMF devices at our house, like for one is called the Beamer. And then of course we have red light therapy, which is the Juve, which is sending different frequencies. And and now we have, of course, some of these floating around our house, the Somavedic. So I really believe in frequency therapy, and even music, right, is a frequency. And
Yes,
certain
yes.
music you put on has you feel a certain feeling.
Yes, yes. When I just uh, side note, I was putting together a presentation, a history of frequency therapy healing, and it goes back like thousands of years ago, with Australian Aborigines, using didgeridoo as a healing tool. Then monks chanting Om, and then to the more modern, let's say, Pythagoras. It was the first one that set up like schools or spas where they were healing you with music. So this is ancient. This is all. This is known. Yes.
I love that. And during COVID, uh, I was doing live music on my channel 3-4 times a week, and so many of the people watching shared that the music healed them and helped them not just feel better, but there's like a frequency of connection to spirit. There's a connection to the story or the journey of the story, or just actually the vibration of the music coming through whatever device or headphones. I'm a big believer in frequency therapy, especially through music. It's one of my passions is
Yeah.
using music to change somebody's state. And all you got to do is put on your music and start dancing around, and you can shift your mood really quickly. You looked at the history of frequency therapy. Is this before you got involved with Somavedic or after?
No, it was I don't know, like 2 or 3 months ago, when I was preparing for one summit, a presentation around the topic of frequency therapy, past, present, and future. And yeah, the future is basically how I see it. Again, let's say like a chamber where you would be in, and they would, let's say, like, there will be various frequencies that will get your body into homeostasis and regenerate your cells and everything. So this is, but in more, like, let's say, in a shorter time than today. So this is how I see things coming in next years.
I love that. And I'm with you on that. I love about the Somavedic, they have light, and we have photo receptors on our skin. If you sleep in a room and the sun comes up and any amount of light hits your skin, your body starts to wake up, and light affects our photoreceptors at any time. But this is also has frequencies that's coming from the crystals. And how does the light inside have the frequency be exaggerated or expanded? Like, how does, because if the crystals are just sitting here, they're only going to emit a certain distance of field. And so how does the light allow it to go 100 feet? Because these go 100 feet through,
Yes.
through concrete, through whatever. How does that work?
Yes, so it's not that the light would be the most important part of it. Of course, the light is is serving as a activator, but there's also like a subtle frequency therapy technology behind it. But what is most important is that really the core of the Somavedic is made out of these precious stones and minerals and precious metals. And even when it's not plugged in, it is working. So it has about 60% efficacy when it's not plugged in, because it's the precious stones and minerals and energy amplifiers that are working together in correlation, that they are creating this, this coherent field around the Somavedic. So, but when you plug it in, you get the full potential of it, and the light is there for, again, for like, let's say, slight improvement of the properties. But when one of the LEDs goes off, we know that there's something's wrong with Somavedic, and you have to exchange it. I mean, we will be sending you a new one, and we will pick up the one you have, because otherwise you would not know if it's working or not, without the light. So it's sort of, so like a feedback loop if the Somavedic is working. And
yeah, and you guys, and there's a 5-year warranty on these things, right? And then also,
yes.
I saw that you have a 99% customer satisfaction rating, which is really, really awesome. And they can also try it for 60 days to see how it works with their body in their home. They can return it within 60 days, right?
Yes, exactly. So we usually, you have 1 year or 2 years warranty on a product that is working, and if it breaks down, they'll exchange you the product or fix it for free. So we have a 5 years warranty. It's not that the product will stop working, it's that we will replace it with a new one within 5 years.
I love that.
And yes, we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, because some people can feel it right away. Some people will feel it after days or weeks. Some people might not feel it at all. It doesn't mean that it's not working. It just, they just don't feel it right away. But we want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with the Somavedic and with the investment. So we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, so anybody can test it out and see for themselves if it's working or not. If not, nothing, like everything's fine. You'll just send us the device, and we'll refund you the money.
What you mentioned geopathic zones, which is something I'd never heard of until I heard you speaking with Gabriel Reese about them, and I find it so fascinating that there's geopathic zones, and then there's the other lines. They start with an H, the Herkin lines. What's that one?
Hartmann-Curry lines. So water crosses, geopathic zones. Yes.
Can you explain just a little bit about what they are, what these geopathic zones and Hartmann lines are, and how they affect the human body, and how these can help to harmonize that if you happen to have your house on top of one?
Yes, sure. So geopathic zones are zones or places where, for example, tectonic plates hit each other or are next to each other, and when they are moving very, very slow, but they that tension is emitting a vibration that is surfacing. That's one example, but the most common example is geopathic zone caused by a flowing river, for example. When you have underground flowing river, that is again emitting the vibration that is surfacing. And there are studies showing that if you spend let's say substantial part of your day at that spot, for example, if you have your bed over it, it will in the long term cause it will have a negative health effect. So the Chinese know them, for thousands of years. They call it dragon veins. They know according to various animals where they lie or not. where are the geopathic zones or where they are not. But for example, dowsers can find them, can find the geopathic zones, and yeah, I mean, I was listening to Ben Greenfield's podcast, and he said that he had a guy measuring the geopathic zones, and he had one right over his bed, you know, in the bedroom. So yeah, he moved the bed. So you can move the bed, or you can, you know, like get some geopathic zone mitigation device.
Is there any other ways of mitigating some of those zones that you've heard of other than Somavedic? Like, how else can you? Because they, you know, the Japanese too. There's a lot of cultures that just won't build on them. Like they know where they are, they just won't build a home there. So, and I've heard of dowsers. Can you explain what dowsers are real quick? I know they can. There's certain people that have the gift, right? They can walk on the property and they can like they actually feel where they are, right? Is there's
Yes, but dowsers, you don't have to be gifted to you know, do this. So dowsers are using these rods, L-shaped rods, and are walking, let's say, you know, in your bedroom or at your garden, because dowsers were you know, originally they let's say are used to find water, you know, when you want to dig a well or something like that, under when, yeah, you need to find underwater water. So you have these L-shaped rods, and you have them like this, so straight, and you are walking slowly, and all of a sudden they will just cross, and you know that there's water below that.
wow.
And yeah, it's proven, it's very easy, and it's proven, and anybody can do this. I mean, you know, like I've seen so many videos, and Luke Story you know, has tested that as well. So it's, you know, it's so this is, let's say, no, not let's say, this is dowsing, and this is how you can you know, find a spot where the water is below the surface.
One of my teachers, Kathy, her teacher, Robert, she told me that he could go on a property and he could sense with his like body, like he would feel, and then they would test it with the dowsing rods. And you know, he was a bit of a legend and a bit of a myth. So I never saw it happen, but I've heard I've heard about that. So how does so this can affect someone having terrible sleeps or incongruencies in their relationships, or like it can really affect somebody's home, can't it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I don't recall the study, but I think it was one Austrian doctor that find a direct correlation that there were some places that weren't good for people, and it was enough to move them few meters from it, and all of a sudden they're you know, they started to get better. So this, you know, and he started to dig it more into that. So yes.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I've never heard of, I've heard the word geopathic zone and Hartmann line in just, I don't know, maybe on a podcast, but I never understood the effects that they can have on someone's home. Now, talk about 5G and EMFs. If you live like right next to a 5G tower or power lines, or maybe you're an apartment building with like, you know, 50 different
Wi-Fi
routers blasting you at night. I went to a hotel recently, and I'm not a highly sensitive person, meaning like I do have a friend, Kate Zena, who she'll probably watch this. She's definitely getting one of these devices for her home because she has no Wi-Fi. She has to run Cat5 cable from the router to her computer and even her phone, like that she can't be. And so she's the type of person that will notice the effects of this. But what I understand is this doesn't block EMFs. This doesn't block
Yes.
5Gs, but it helps your body, your cells deal with the stresses. Can you explain a little bit how it helps with 5G, because I have blockers all over the house on all my routers. I have a router, it'll unplug if I take it, but these minerals, they're minerals too that are clipped, um, dense minerals that are clipped on a lot of my power sources here and there through a company called EMF Solutions. Um, how is this different than that? And how does this help the body sort of, I guess,
Yeah.
deal with the stress of EMF?
Yes, yes. So yeah, Somavedic is not blocking EMF, and it was designed this way because from the beginning it was designed to be used in office spaces, doctors' offices, homes, and where basically you need technology to work, Wi-Fi. I mean, yeah, cell phones and laptops. So how Somavedic is helping with the EMF effects is that it's basically creating a field of its own. Well, we call it like this coherent field that is supporting anything living inside. And the way we know is, for example, from one German study that was comparing human cells, the speed of regeneration in a non-EMF environment. It was shielded. In an EMF environment, which is standard environment, and then in an EMF environment with a Somavedic next to it. And there was, you could see basically the 3 steps of the speed of the cell regeneration, where the slowest was in an EMF environment. Then the improved speed of cell regeneration was with Somavedic, and then the highest speed was in non-EMF, in total non-EMF environment. But you could see like how the Somavedic is working, and that it's not, yeah, it's basically helping, in a nutshell, is basically creating a space where the body has energy to regenerate itself, because the body is doing the healing, and on a cellular level, the cells are not negatively responding to the EMF radiation. So, and why I said that all the living things inside of the field, in the field's reach, is because we know that. And we get this a lot, that people are sending us photos of their plants, how all of a sudden how big they are, or how fast they are growing, or even pets that their behavior changed, or that they sleep better, or small children sleep better, and so this rules out the placebo, with plants and pets and small children.
Yeah, you're right. The cats aren't like believing the hype. Right, exactly.
Yes.
Okay. And I went to see one. There's a therapist that we go to visit, and she has a Somavedic in her office, and there's no windows at all, and she has plants, and these plants look amazing, and I was blown away that they're vibrant and they were green, and there's no natural light in there. She has one little kind of artificial light, but the Somavedics in there, and she also deals with a lot of frequency and a lot of vibration with her patients, the type of healing she does, and she's got a Somavedic in there as well. So you mentioned sleep. Now my wife's 9 months pregnant, and we're expecting any day. We're about 5 days away from the due date, and
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited about our baby sleeping really well. Like I'll let you know how that goes. But Kate has been sleeping completely through the night with and notoriously pregnant women have to get up to go to the bathroom 5 or 6 times a night. And I think we've had this for 4 months. And I sleep like a rock always. But she, even before, she would get up to go to the restroom when she wasn't pregnant. But since we've had this, she's been able to sleep. And I know a lot of, I don't know if there's a more important pillar to health than a good night's sleep. And so
Yes.
Tell me about some stories or anything you've heard about some people with sleep that you've like, what's Tell me a couple things you've heard about sleep from people
Yeah.
who've had these devices.
Yes, so the sleep is the most important part, I would say, in our day, in our 24-hour cycle, because it's the time when our body regenerates, when our mind and body regenerate. So we really need to protect our sleep. So a good night's sleep, is very important. And yeah, so and also like sleep is the number one thing that people like get back to us with the feedback that this is what improves, because in like there are like various things. It's sleep, energy levels, headaches, and migraines with women especially. They just go almost disappear.
I know Tara, you're the woman I've been speaking to here. She said she used to have these brutal migraines, and she said as soon as she got it, she hasn't had a single migraine since.
Yes. So yeah, headaches, migraines, feelings of calmness and peace. But the number one thing is definitely sleep. I mean, we had for example, Luke's story sent us a screenshot of his Aura ring data when he got his first Somavedics. It was like through the roof, the deep sleep and everything. So yes, we get this feedback a lot.
I love that. And why? Why do you think it helps sleep? Is it because of the congruency? And I know we hear a lot about heart congruency from there's Joe Dispenza, who takes people through his number one thing is congruency. And can you just talk a little bit about how does this help with harmonizing and congruency, and why do you think it helps with sleep?
Yes, because the Somavedic is not only mitigating the effects of EMF, then you would get basically, let's say, to zero. Well, you would just, it not only just cancels out the effects. The heart of the Somavedic, the various precious stones and minerals, are supportive. They are helping your body to regenerate faster, to get into coherency or homeostasis. So that's why we think that it has this effect on our sleep, that it's that space that it is creating is like supportive for the self-healing processes in our bodies.
It almost sounds adaptogenic in the sense that if wherever you're a bit out of balance or with disharmony or discongruency, this will help your body to adapt, like in an adaptogenic way. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Yeah, like adapt. So just explain to me structuring water. What I for my listeners, a lot of people put the Vedic or the Greene by their water, and why is that water better for us, and how does it work?
Sure. So structured water, the famous Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto brought this to the mainstream, when you were talking or having negative thoughts, or when you were talking negative to water, and then he was taking this photograph of the water crystals. So why is this important? Is that in our bodies, in our cells, there's only structured water. That means, so if you drink structured water, it's the most bioavailable type or state of water. So of course you can find structured water in nature, but not in our environment, in our home or work environment. There's no structured water from tap or plastic bottles or whatever. You have to basically like structure it with, there are various technologies how to structure water. So why is this important is, again, to get hydration, the right hydration from the water. And I'll just mention the Tara again, because like that's a great example. She said, I used to drink a gallon of water a day, and I was still feeling thirsty. And since I started structuring water with Somavedic, just by placing the jug of water like next to it, I'm drinking like half of it, and I don't feel thirsty anymore. So again, and this had so it's basically the most bioavailable like state of water that we can drink. And the way how Somavedic is doing it is the same way. It's basically the same field that is around the Somavedic that is affecting the Somavedic. That is affecting the water. The field of the Somavedic is changing the structure of the water. That's why, we don't know what makes the plants grow faster, but we assume that, it's the field, is the changing the of course, mitigating the EMF effects, because we know that the EMF are affecting the growth of plants. But then if you are, watering them with structured water, they just grow faster.
And our bodies are made up of mostly water, so
Yes.
it also makes sense why people experience a similar, the water inside of us also gets harmonized in congruency and gets structured inside of the human body too, right?
Yes, exactly.
Before we say goodbye, I want to hear the craziest testimonial that comes to your mind. Like, what's somebody has written to you or told you, and this, I understand this won't be for everybody's not going to get this result, but what's one or two things that somebody has shared with you that has been a benefit of having one of these in their home, that you can share with us before we say goodbye?
So I will share two stories with you.
Okay.
One that just came to my mind. So one is from my former advisor when I was in San Francisco. I had a really nice guy that was, basically he was introducing me to various people in San Francisco. And we sent him the Somavedic for him and his wife. And they had a parrot, a bird, for more than 10 years, but the last 5 years it had no feather. It was featherless. So, and he started sending me like photos of big leaves of plants and everything, and he was blown away by it. But then he told me, like, what's the craziest part about it is that in these 2 months the feather grew back. All of a sudden all the feather is back, and we didn't change. Yes, and we didn't change anything. Like for 5 years it had no feather, and all of a sudden, like, there he was with his feather, and they were sad because eventually it flew away. Because so it's an interesting and sad story, because they loved him, but then it flew away. But he said, like, he'd never seen something like this, so that's quite amazing.
Wow. And what's the other one?
Yeah, and the other one is that one car dealer had it in his office, and he had 2 secretaries. And they were like fighting, let's say fighting a lot, arguing. And he brought some Vedic there, and they stopped. Really? But yes, but the crazy thing about that is that after about
they flew away. Then they
no. But after about 3 years, one of the lights went off, and one of the secretaries like approached the owner, and she told him, like, you have to fix that, because they didn't know what that was, or what it is doing. And she told him that you have to fix that lamp because it's broken. We are fighting again.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And they didn't even know what it was. Well,
Yes.
I
Yes.
know for us mainly has been sleep, especially for my wife who's very, very pregnant. And then of course our water, we have it right next to our water, and our cats are very, very healthy. They're not flying away, but our cats. Well, you're having a big sale up to 20% off on Black Friday. And I have a code the people can use, which is just PG20. Um,
Yes.
and so on in Europe, do they have a Black Friday in Europe too? Or is it just not really?
Well, we on our European eShop, like somavedic.eu, they can use it as well. But
Oh, good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Well, I have people watching from all over the world. So I love that you're doing this. And I'm so happy to find a product that I feel can really help people in a really special way. And it is for everybody because it's adaptogenic, meaning and very rarely can you recommend something to someone that you know will help something, like will help bring, and that heart congruency and the harmonization is something that and frequency therapy. I'm so excited about where we're headed as a as a species, to understand and it's really getting back to nature, right?
Yes.
It's really getting back to being in harmony and congruency with nature. And this, I feel like this is like bringing some nature into your home.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Uri, thanks so much for being on my podcast. I love your bio. It says uh you're a passion, what did it say? Tara sent it to me. You're a passionate
Yeah, endless optimist with passion to build and grow projects with meaning.
yes, endlessly optimistic. That's the part that
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
I've also been accused of being endlessly optimistic.
Yeah.
So
It's it's sometimes not practical, but it makes our life nice.
who cares? I would rather live in a bubble of optimism and seeing everything as the glass half full rather than glass empty. It's just a perspective of point of view, and I've never it's never negatively affected me being optimistic. You're right.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on, and anybody watching this, you can go to somavedic.com, right?
Yes.
Yep. And then they can, when they're checking out, they can put the code PG20. And there's, what I love about the website is there's a ton of science there, and you can see images of
Yes.
blood before and very solid science. And there's research papers that if you're a pessimist, you can dive deep into the inquiry of science to understand, and then they can try it for 60 days and see how it feels in their home.
Yes. Yes, exactly. There's still the 60-day money back guarantee for everybody to try out. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Well, is there anything else you want to add, Uri?
No, I mean, I I'm glad, we just talked about this, and spreading the awareness about EMF and its effects is really, really important. And I really enjoyed this conversation. So thank you for having me, Paul.
You're welcome. I think it's only going to get worse once they throw satellites up in the sky that are Elon Musk, that's constantly going to be blasting us with 5G. I think whatever we can do to make our homes a safe haven, and this is one of them. You can also block EMF with certain things and still have Wi-Fi, but this is a really great way to sort of make sure your home has a harmonizing frequency, so that you don't have to fight with your wife all the time or your fiance. Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.